Greetings, everybody. We are here at 68 Highland, either Road or Ave. We are going to compare some shingles here. We have pulled a shingle from the roof up top there, and we are going to do a comparison with the shingle from the RLS that the carrier has identified. The RLS has identified this as a Certainteed XT25. So we have an XT25 below, above, and to the left of this for comparison. We're going to identify several key features, and then flip it over and do the same thing. So, a couple things we notice first is the color, right? Now, the different colors is not a big deal. Just notice that it's clear they're not the same color. But it does show us a couple things like where the exposure line is. You can see on here that the exposure line on the shingle from the roof and the exposure line for the RLS shingle, the XT25, is different. Now it's slightly different, so that's a minor variance. Next thing we want to do is we line up, so you make sure they're lined up, right, top, bottom. We take a look at the adhesive strip. The adhesive strip is often a large dead giveaway in terms of manufacturers. Is most manufacturers use a dashed sealant or a dashed adhesive strip like this. This is dashed. See, it's blob, 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 blob versus a single line. But you can line it up to see if it's continuous. The reason you can do this is because when shingles are being made, they're made in one long strip, and when that adhesive is being put on, the squirter, for lack of a better term, is just run right along there in one huge long conveyor belt. So it should, as we have the shingles lined up here, it should line up exactly. And you can see here, it's not quite exact, it's a little bit off. So that's another slight variance, nothing huge. But what we do see here is that the adhesive is continuous. Now that's very interesting. That's an odd finding because you would expect to see those same dashes, but here we see it as continuous throughout, and not except for the spot where it's exposed and it wore away. It is continuous throughout. This is a continuous adhesive strip, so that's a little confusing. You would expect to see it dashed like that, and dashed like up on that one, and we assume the same on that one. So that's a little confusing. Now again, we see on here where the shingle is not exposed to weather, we see a slight color variation. This is standard on your XT25, where you have the main color down here and then a lighter color where whatever reason they did that, that's how the shingle is designed. We don't see that over here on the shingle from the roof. Again, that's a little weird. You would expect to see, even on an older shingle, this is a section that hasn't been exposed to the elements. So you'd expect to see the darker here and the lighter there, or the lighter here and the darker there, but you don't see it. So it's a little surprising. You do see that the gaps here in between the tabs, they do seem to line up a little bit. It's a little bit off, but in general it looks like okay. And top to bottom it lines up, left to right it lines up, and that's because this is your standard 3-tab, your English measurement 3-tab, so that's not a big deal. But so far we have a couple things that are kind of worrying or concerning, a little confusing. Now, one of the easiest ways to tell a shingle from manufacturer is, let's look at the cellophane tape. All right, cellophane tape tells us almost everything we always need to know about the shingle. Who made it, when they made it, and so on and so on. So Certainteed is one of the best ones out there for identifying their stuff because they mark their stuff. See right there, it says Certainteed. And here again, Certainteed. Here again, Certainteed. And here again, Certainteed. They label their stuff. Miami-Dade County approved, do not remove, written sideways, and then they have their various markings right there. So it tells you the lot number is, I think that says AAXX. I can't quite make it out. That tells you more about where it was made, when it was made, and so on and so forth. So a CertainTeed XT25, the CertainTeed St. Gobain mark is written out just like this, and that's true for every single XT25 shingle ever made. It'll say CertainTeed St. Gobain just like this. So we should expect to find another XT25 shingle to be just like this, even if there's some minor variations that we've already noted. Not a big deal. As long as it says CertainTeed St. Gobain like this, we know for fact that it's an XT25. Maybe the numbers are a little bit off because it's made in either like a different plant or a different time of day or month. Whatever, that's not a big deal. As long as it says CertainTeed St. Gobain just like this. Otherwise, you know, who knows. So let's flip this over. I'll hand this over to my cameraman right now so I can turn this over to hands, as long as you got the shingle in view. So we are flipping this shingle over. I'll flip it upside down so it mirrors this one. Alrighty, and I'll take the camera back. And what do we have? We have, right here, it says CertainTeed. It says the Roofing Collection CertainTeed. And then it says EFXX. And then up here again, EFXX. And it says the Roofing Collection CertainTeed, and it's in a little triangle. Let's see if I can get that a little better, because the sun's kind of shining in. Can't see that. Maybe it's a little hard to see from the angle. Let's see if we can get it like this. There you go. Right there. See a little triangle there? It says the Roofing Collection, and there's where it says CertainTeed. So this is definitely a CertainTeed shingle, but it's different from the other one because it's not stamped the same. Now, shingle manufacturers don't just say, "Oh, we're gonna change how we do our cellophane tape midway through the production line." That would be foolish and a huge waste of money. They just keep on pumping them out because, you know, they like making money, and changing it midway would cost them a ton of money. So you can see the triangles there again, the Roofing Collection CertainTeed. That's what they went there. So that's a little surprising. That means there's a difference. There's a big difference. This one, as well, I'm leaning on it, sorry, XT25 is not this one. The one came off the roof. It's not an XT25. So what is it? Well, we know it's CertainTeed, but it's not an XT25. We have our shingle gauge around here somewhere. So the next question is it a 20-year shingle? That's an easy way to determine that. Let's flip this sucker over. Let's put a gauge on it. You want to take the camera again, please? It's a shingle gauge. Quite easy to do. Put the shingle gauge on it. Put it on the right side. Slip it on. And it goes right out. That's a 20. It's a 20-year shingle. So XT25, the reason the 25 is in there is because it's a 25-year shingle. So this isn't even, not only is it not an XT25, it's not even a 25-year shingle. That leads me to believe that it is a CT20 versus an XT25 shingle. Those two are not compatible with one another. So we have a problem. CT20 is no longer made. It was phased out many, many moons ago. So I don't have to tell you, except that the small variances we saw before with the adhesive and the exposure, they're not quite so small anymore. They are compatibility problems. Not just that, there's a problem with the warranty. So we have a chemical and structural compatibility problems. Not only that, we have warranty problems. And it's just not the same shingle. So if you have any questions, give me a call, give me a text, give me an email. Hey, ring us up. We'll talk about it. Otherwise, see you around the horn.